There are a few things I learned in advertising that normally you have to be a huge organization to have access to. But when you distill it, I realized that fundamentally, every key you need to succeed, to build your brand, will end up as one of these three. I've spoken about them before, but today I'll show us how to practically apply them. RUM, R-U-M. And then after this, we'll do a little brainstorm session, because the secret to solid branding is brainstorming, the ability to tap into all the brains available to you to distill the best idea that properly helps you position your business. What I want to give you are keys you can use effectively. So in effective brand building, don't tell me I have the best law firm in Ghana. Give me an experience that makes me conclude Cynthia has the best law firm in Ghana. This is the real brand building challenge. It's called call and response. Nobody hires a comedian expecting them to come on stage and say, "Hey, everybody listen to me. I'm so funny. Hey, everywhere I go, I make people laugh. I'm so funny." The comedian comes, tells you a joke. You laugh, 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 cry, fall on the ground, get up, laugh a bit more. Go, this guy is crazy. Ha! This guy is crazy. This guy is so funny. This fundamentally is it. What these three things are is what will guide you. This is relevance, uniqueness, and memorability. These three keys are all you need to intentionally and deliberately build your business. It sounds very simple. So this is not originally my idea, but it's tried, tested, always works. So this advice, normally it's something we will give you as a yardstick for measuring your brand communication. When they say, "Oh, Charlie, if you just give us 5,000 Ghana cedis, we'll run 3 ads for you every day on Acquah TV." You have to ask yourself, the people who watch Acquah TV, how many of them can afford a Christy Brown or a Kaime? Uniqueness. What about my product makes me unique? We all source the fabric from the same place. We all use the same pool of tailors. We all use Instagram. We all use, what am I adding to my product to make it unique? It's a very important question. And uniqueness normally stems from an authentic place. What do you genuinely care about? If money wasn't a problem, what will you do with your time? If there was no contract available, what proposal will you spend your time designing? When you are not unique, it simply means somebody else was doing before you came, and you haven't distinguished yourself enough. You know, so you find a young person who sings beautifully, but they sing like Rihanna. But we already have Rihanna. Why do you sing like Rihanna? You know, so when you can't afford Rihanna, then you invite her. "Hey, Acquah, I'm having a party. Can you come and sing for us?" She says, "You want 2,000 Ghana, like we'll play Rihanna CD." So the challenge with uniqueness, though, is that many times, if you're not confident in your authentic story, you look around for, if you are used to looking at, "Hey, Charlie, you know, when you're sitting in exam, question 2, A. What you think is B? But everybody has shaded. First, it shouldn't be giraffing, you shouldn't be doing that. But then you have, and everybody has, but you know that this thing is B. And because you're not confident, you go along and shade A. People do that in business all the time. They shade A when deep down they know it's a B. You are always the determinant of value. So you have to find your authentic voice. Uniqueness. We are all unique. We are all unique. What's unique about you? We tend to call this TOMA, top of mind awareness. Top of mind awareness. This is extremely important in brand building. When I think generally in your product category or business category, who comes to mind? When I think, let's clean the country, Zoom Lion. As to whether they are doing a good job or not is a whole other conversation. But they definitely enjoy TOMA. But the secret to that is uniqueness. If you're not unique, nobody's going to remember you. You know, nobody will remember you. You'll be forgettable. And that's what the last one is about, memorability. The trick is that all three have to work together. They don't work independently. A good idea, a good decision in business, in fact, even in life, you have to check if it's relevant, if it's unique, if it's memorable. If it doesn't tick all three boxes, it's just okay. But if you don't have a lot of time to waste, commit to these three. Because when you're in business, everybody will throw something at you. How do you distill? How do you distill? How do you make sure that you are not wasting your time? You are not wasting your limited resource. And this is what the best, most effective organizations in the world, this is the tool they use. So there's this intentionality that must go into every aspect of your business. It's extremely crucial. And the reason why the why is critical is because without that, where are you headed? Like, why are you in business? So the thing with money is that, like poverty can chase you out of your room. If you look at the hunger in your stomach and how you suffer, poverty can drive you out to go and find something to do. But where you head is the why. So looking for money is a good motivation. It's not a bad motivation. But where you head to find the money is where you have to be intentional. People only worry about what they are running from. And that's why they end up, Charlie, So that's where you are running to. That's what's driving you. So poverty, in Africa, most of us get up because of poverty. And we run out of the house because of poverty. It's not a bad motivation. It's not. I honestly think it's actually quite a good motivation. Anything that can get you to discover what your capabilities. For some of us, it could even be the threat of death or the threat of divorce. They're like, hey, I've depended on this person now. They're going to leave me stranded with my children. Let me get up. Let me tie my wrapper and get up. It's not bad. But where are you headed? This is intentionality. When we talk about intentionality, because when you start running out, there are a million different places you can run to. So why don't you run towards something that will give you joy? Something that will make you feel fulfilled. Poverty may chase us, that's true, no problem. But where we run towards is what intentionality is about. Brand identity is a number of things. So typically we have what we call the essence. Essence is also sometimes called the DNA of the brand. And then we have what we call the personality of the brand. My handwriting, forgive it. So when we talk about personality, what we are saying, simple question, if this brand was a person, what kind of person will it be to that? Because at the end of the day, that business you're building is its own person. Is this person reliable? There are some people I know who are consistent. So, and businesses are the same. Some people are fickle. Some businesses are fickle. They were making whatever, They were producing shoes. And then they heard it was COVID response. The government has, all of a sudden, they are making masks. And then COVID response dried up. And say, Jerry Rawlings, in memory of Jerry Rawlings, we are discouraging Ghanaians from chewing cow leather. So there's funding for belt companies. And then next day, belt. They are fickle. If the brand was a person, what kind of person will it be? What a lot of, and this is trying to break culture. What happens in our system is you find an employer with 20 employees, 50 employees. The employer calls a meeting, but the meeting is to announce to everybody the decisions they, or if you are lucky, senior management has taken. So they have 50 heads, but only one thinks. If you are lucky, only 7 things. And then they are wondering why their business is not growing. You didn't employ those people because they are stupid. In fact, you looked through applicants, looked at their CV and said, oh, this one will be good for this one will be good for that. You have to break that culture. Wisdom is not in only one person's head. And anytime you organize a brainstorm, you have to bring from the lowest person in the organization to the highest person.
My question is just, I try to do that as often as possible. I find that a lot of people are not used to being asked questions, or don't want to be honest, or not, or maybe afraid of what they're saying may be mistaken, or not sure if it's some kind of a trick. I think it's a lot of our education system doesn't allow people to speak their mind freely. So do you have any tips on actually getting people to give honest feedback when you are trying to, see what's working and what's not, and what can be improved in these brainstorms with them?
That's a really good question. So the first one is that bring everybody together. Right. 2, have a why for the brainstorming session. Make it clear. Why are we brainstorming? Sales is dropping by this. Our competitor just did this. Be very specific in the brief. Why? Be very clear. Write the vision, write it plain. Clear, like super clear. And now, the first part of the brainstorming session, which answers your question, is called Nothing is No. Remember that.
Nothing
is no.
no.
Nothing is no. I'll explain. So, to create a culture where people can give honest feedback, it's always important that culturally in your organization, you make this the first aspect of a brainstorm. Anything everybody says is recorded. Anything they say. It doesn't matter how stupid it sounds. It doesn't matter how crazy it sounds. There is no criticism. There is no response. You can only ask for clarification if you don't understand what they said. Because sometimes people will say things like, I'm not sure I'm hearing this person right. So can you explain? But everything that is said must be recorded. Everything. If you want people to gain the confidence to give feedback, record what they say. Then, and you have to use the brains because you have access to these brains. Tap into them. Tap into them. They are fantastic resource. Tap into them. So nothing fantastic. So nothing is no is the first part of the brainstorm. After you have must have a very good reason, very clear brief for why you're organizing the brainstorm. 2, you make sure everybody is at the brainstorm. And when I say everybody, typically you can't have all your team members, but make sure that every aspect of the business is represented. And then once you have that, you have to go back to our RAM. Now that you have all these ideas, which ones are relevant? So you use relevance to sort. Okay, we got 200 suggestions. We think 10 are quite relevant, but you still have the sheets with all the 200. You put those 10 down and like, okay, which of these 10 are unique? Relevant and unique. Most of the time it's not, because they are fresh ideas. What can we do to them? What if we change it a little? What can we add? What does this trigger? And this is how the ideas roughly develop. And typically, because most small businesses can't afford top ad agencies, if you were to go to a top ad agency, they'll take your brief, and this is what they'll be doing. Going through and normally, because it's somebody's job, they're also quite sharp with it. But when you are small, it doesn't hurt to do that yourself.
Because I'm just starting another business. And I thought I'd get a branding agency to help with it. My own business, I did the branding myself with a friend, but it was mainly my ideas. And I'm starting another one, and I thought, oh, I'll get a branding agency. So we had a chat with them. They brought some ideas, some colors. I thought, I've told them my story. I've told them what I want to do. Nothing worked. We'd have had to have a going back and forth and back and forth. So I got a young lady who works for me talking about your point about bringing everyone in. She's actually my PA, but very, very artistic. So I just said, try your hand at something. She's come up today with an amazing logo. Fantastic. But partly it's because she's been with me now for 3 years. She knows me. She's been along the journey. She understands what we want to do. And she's just brought together something that I would have paid, I guess, I'm here in London, thousands of pounds for. And so I think there's a real point. But what I liked about what Nana Kofi has done is that he's given tools to enable you to go along that journey. And I think that's very important, particularly for SMEs. I think we have a lot more within us than we recognize. And I think it's best, as Aisha said, to do it for yourself first before looking. I'm not trying to put branding agencies out of business, but I think there's a lot of creativity within people. And I think, as Nana Kofi said, bring in the people within your company, just anybody, and ask for the ideas. And I think you'll get there. So that was just my little experience. I mean, I could have afforded this group of people, but I think I would have been very frustrated if I had used them. So just thought I would share that.
Just to say that there's one thing that stuck with me. He said earlier on during the masterclass, he said, run to the impact that you want to make.
Yeah.
And I will just, as we move along with this masterclass series, and then we start the business incubation proper, it would be really great if we could all just have that at the back of our mind. Run to the impact we want to make, not necessarily it didn't say run to the money you want to make. It didn't say run to the whatever.
Definitely run away from poverty, but choose what you run towards. It's very important.
To the impact that you want to make.